Hello, friend, and welcome to episode number 14 of the VIP Collective. So welcome to the Collective, darling.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
I know. Thanks for asking me.
So, exciting. We worked together recently.
Yes.
And that was
insane. The hottest day ever.
I think it was on record the hottest day.
I think it was 44 Celsius, and it was sweaty and crazy and
it was mental.
So many stops, so many locations, so many things happening, but it works out in the end, right?
It worked.
Yeah.
So let's back up just before we get into the nitty gritty. And for people who are watching and listening, why don't you, first of all, everyone, I guess I should intro. We are with Corina V.
Yes.
And I love the fact that your name, it's not Corina V, it's
Corina Van Sluytman.
Corina
It's a
Van
tricky last
Sluytman.
name. I took my husband's last name. You know, one letter off could be kind of dangerous.
Did you blend your name and your husband's last name? Or that is his...
My maiden name was Pichelle with a P, so it sounds very,
What background is this?
German. Then Jason's background is Portuguese Dutch, and he has a Dutch last name, and so I took on Van Sluytman because I thought it stands out. It's definitely different.
Right.
No one knows how to pronounce it, so that's why I went with the Corina V.
Cool. Well, it rolls off the tongue. Corina V Photography.
Yes.
So why don't you give everyone a little bit of background about how long you've been doing this gig for?
Well, excited to announce 10 years in September.
Oh,
so,
yay.
Yeah, I might have to do
Congratulations.
something. Thank you. I might have to do something fun, like a little giveaway or something to celebrate that. So
That's huge. 10 years is huge.
yes, I know.
Wow.
And I'm still loving it, so that's huge too.
So you're primarily wedding photos, your corporate, your events,
Families,
family,
fine
lifestyle.
art boudoir as well. I do étoile sessions, so
étoiles.
étoile sessions, star
What does this mean?
sessions. Yes, so I have like a Parisian boudoir set up in my home, and I do it very fine art and very tasteful and everything. So it's intriguing for men and women, to look at. So it's not vulgar or anything. It's still classy and has a French style to it, and lots of black and white, grainy images.
Love that.
And, yeah.
So is it becoming really popular, boudoir stuff?
Yes.
It is.
Yeah, because my brides want to give their grooms a beautiful gift, something unique. And what can be more unique than beautiful, fine art boudoir shots of them in a really pretty book? And, you can't just buy it anywhere, right? It's not like a watch or cufflinks or something traditional.
True.
Yeah.
So then they do the shoot. Is it always that they create a gift for the groom? Is that usually what happens when you do boudoir?
Yes, it's nice. It's a nice celebration of, yourself. And you do it for yourself. You do it for your spouse, for your fiance, whatever.
It's nice. I think we've been to a couple morning preps and we've seen that.
Yes.
I feel like it is taking off a little bit. How does it work? Like if you are going to do something like that, is it just you and the bride and it's very private?
Yeah. So that's very important. So I say, get your makeup and your hair done professionally. So you look good, you feel good and everything. And then they come in with their playlist and have a couple of outfits. And it's a fun day. We'll have some champagne and everything.
Yep.
And it's just me and her. And we just create some beautiful photos.
Oh, cool.
It's just amazing to see the transformation. They come in, they're kind of like shy. And I don't know how to pose. I'm like, don't worry about it. It's all on me, okay?
Right.
Just relax, take direction, and that's it. And I know all the different angles, all the different ways of posing you. And if you're kind of, shy about your stomach or whatever, aren't we all? So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So would seeing them for the first time at a boudoir shoot be the first time you might meet them in general? Or would you see them at an engagement and then likely do a boudoir after?
Sometimes, right? So we'll meet, we'll do the consultation, I'll show them the books, the albums, the wedding albums and everything, and usually their fiancé is there too, and I'll just kind of say, by the way, would you be interested in seeing a boudoir book?
Right.
Yes, okay, I'll show them, and usually he's like, yeah, that looks great. So then, as a surprise, then she'll call me up or email me and say, by the way, I'm thinking of doing this. Let's do it. Okay, so
what's kind of like a tip to get people to relax, especially when they're like half naked?
Champagne helps.
Yeah.
Having your playlist. I think put on some Prince. I think that gets everyone all sexy. So
what song?
Any of them.
Any of them?
Any of them. All of them.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we kind of start tame, so something cute, like white, pastel-y, and kind of move our way up to the sexy, racy, black and lacy.
Got you.
Yeah.
So you start in the robe, and then it's like each
it's a
song
progression.
something comes off, basically.
For sure. And by the end of it, they're just loving it. They don't want it to end, right? Because it's all about visual feedback. So I'm about showing them the back of my camera.
Yeah.
Some photographers don't believe in that. I totally believe in that because for me, I'd like to see visually, oh, I don't like the way my hair is right there, and then I could fix it, right? And I could fix it, and I'd feel better about myself, right? So it's all about the visual feedback, and then they just relax then, and then they start seeing themselves. They're like, is that really me? I can't believe it. Like, you're a magician with your camera or something.
Yeah.
They can't believe it, and then that just builds their confidence, and then they feel a little bit more daring.
I agree with that, actually, with sharing some clips. Like,
Yes.
if we're able to, when we're shooting, I like to showcase a few clips
For
to them,
sure.
just so that they're able to see, like, how it really translates.
Yeah, no, that's
Either
super
on
important.
photo
Like,
or
as a
video,
photographer or a videographer or whatever, I think it's very important. Some photographers don't believe in it, though, and they just say, no, just wait until the gallery and you'll be surprised. I want you to be surprised. But then they get it, and they're like, my bra strap was hanging down the whole time, and, you know, you didn't see that or something. So it's good for them to see it, too.
Interesting. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I get it.
Totally.
So you describe yourself as a fine art photographer.
Yes, I do.
Tell me what this means. Fill me in on this.
There are different definitions of fine art photographer, fine art wedding photographer. So my own definition is just from my past. So I've always been the kid who likes to draw and paint. I got my first camera when I was 10 years old for Christmas.
What kind of camera was it?
It was one of those long, skinny 110 ones. Remember those
ones?
Oh,
do I ever?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I would be taking pictures of my family, and I'd be chopping their heads off. You know, when you get the photos back, it's like, oh, where are their heads? But at least, you know, I got something in there.
Yeah.
And then the progression began from there. Cool. So for fine art, I would say, you know, I am a fine artist at heart. I'm also classically trained in fine art as well. So I always love to capture the essence of the person in front of me, the subject. So in high school, I'd be sketching my friends. I'd have them all lined up during break and say, okay, you're next. And I have my little sketchbook there, and I'd be sketching them. And it was like a challenge to me to be able to capture the spirit of my subject. Then I went to Queen's, and I did the psychology with a minor in fine art. And then I thought, what can I do with the psychology and the creativity? I thought, oh, I'll go into advertising. So I went, you know, after graduation, I went and sent out my resumes, and I got in with a media buying company, and I bought billboard space. Back in the day, it was called HYPN.
Okay.
Have you heard of that one?
No, but I graduated advertising as well.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So that's why I was like, I might know who this is.
Oh, yeah. This was back way in the olden days.
Yeah.
So I did print and outdoor buying, which was kind of cool. Then after that, I thought, well, this isn't quite creative enough. I want to do something different. So I ended up landing a job at Labatt head office in marketing, which was like the best time ever.
Cool.
You know, working on special projects and just learning that marketing aspect of the whole industry. That was really cool. I got to go to photo shoots, product shoots, commercial sets.
Yep.
And that was really great. All of it was education for what I'm doing now, right? So after that, I thought, okay, I still want to be even more creative. So then I did a post-grad at Humber in graphic design and learning Photoshop and Illustrator and all that kind of stuff. And that was kind of like when I fell in love with, oh, you can totally edit photos, and you can, you know, smooth this out and you can move that. It was like magic to me, right? It was really cool. And kind of fell more in love with the photography side as well. And then I got a job doing art direction and graphic design at a supplement company, you know, where they do protein bars, protein powder, all that kind of stuff.
The stuff you have on it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
A wedding day. Protein bars all day.
Exactly. So I got to go to LA a couple times and art direct some cool shoots and everything.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So you've had quite the progression here.
Yeah. Well, and it all kind of ramps up to what I'm doing now. So then after that, it was like, okay, I was getting married. I was designing my own wedding invitations. It was a really, you know, beautiful pink rose with like a vellum overlay and kind of booklet style, very modern for the day, you know, 16 years ago.
Yeah.
And so I did wedding invitations, and then friends and family were like, oh, can you do mine? Can you do mine? And it kind of snowballed. So for 5 years, I was actually designing luxury wedding invitations. So
no way.
Yeah. So that was kind of my first taste of weddings, and I loved it. And so, you know, I just loved everything about weddings, right? It was the world of beauty and love and emotion and all that stuff. But I would just kind of hand over the menus then and say, have a good wedding to my brides. And that was it. And then maybe they'd come back with their photos and I'd design their thank you cards.
Right.
But I kind of wanted to be more involved somehow. So two friends of mine, actually, Michelle and Ryan, September, 10 years ago, almost.
Yeah.
They asked me, hey, do you want to shoot our wedding by any chance? And I was like, oh, well, I've just kind of been doing it on the side, taking pictures of my babies with my Canon Rebel that I got with air miles, you know. And I was like, I don't know about that. Maybe if our friend, you know, if she kind of also shoots with me, and then maybe we could do something. Let's try it. So that was my first taste of shooting a wedding. And, you
Cool.
know, yeah, and they loved it and they were happy with it. I didn't know what to expect and I just did it. And I kind of fell in love with the whole process of the day and just, you know, to be able to create something for someone that has such significance and meaning to them, that was huge. So then I was hooked and that was it. And shooting weddings ever since.
I feel like it always kind of starts from a friend.
Yes.
Because you have to start somewhere, number one. And so it's like, well, if a friend needs something, like, let me come out and try this out.
Yeah,
and
and it's
how
no
it works.
pressure, and they're still going to be your friend, even if you screw it up, hopefully.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So did you have a name for the stationery company?
Bella Invites.
Cute. Now,
Yeah.
why Bella? Reason?
Anything
Anything in particular? Or
no,
it was just kind
of beautiful. And actually, my husband Jason said, you know, it's a B. You'd be at the top of the list of any listing, so go with B.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So
a lot of companies used to name their name
a
triple
A1.
Yeah. AAA towing or
Yeah.
whatever so that they could be at the top.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so funny how it's different now.
I know.
No, it doesn't matter.
No.
But, so Bella's Invitations lived for how long?
5 years.
For 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually, and then it was like after you did your friend's wedding, were you just like, okay, next day, this is what I'm doing? Or was it a gradual?
Gradual as well. I
Yeah.
had to build my portfolio and all that stuff too, right? So what I actually did was I took out an ad on Kijiji and I made a contest. And I said, send in your photo of you and your fiance and send me a story and I'll pick the top 5.
Oh,
So
to shoot a wedding for free?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so it was so cute. You know, the ones that I did, they're very deserving, and most of them couldn't afford wedding photography. So, you know, one girl, she was one of 6 kids, and they didn't have a huge budget for their wedding. You know, they got married. I think on a vineyard they had their ceremony, but then they all took a school bus back to their house and they had a party in their backyard.
Nice.
But it was nice to be able to give them the gift of photography and also to kind of test out my camera and see how I could do on a wedding, right?
Yeah.
No pressure.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful, you know, and it was a challenge too, right? You know, you want to shoot it in a beautiful way for them, even though they were just carnations from the local grocery store. That was, you know, the centerpiece and the bouquet and all that stuff.
So after you had done the Kijiji couple, then how did you continue to build your portfolio from there?
Networking, you know, meeting up with other vendors, doing creative shoots, submitting them to different blogs, and doing a wedding show here and there. You know, you have to kind of, you know, pay your dues and pound the pavement and kind of get the word out about yourself.
Is that the advice you would give to someone who's starting new, do you think?
Yeah, maybe nowadays we have Instagram, right? So, you know, just kind of do some contests. You have to kind of give away some things in the beginning. I think do some free shoots. You know, don't expect to be paid some big bucks right away.
Right.
And just kind of, you know, give first before you can accept weddings.
So are you self-taught or did you learn under somebody?
For wedding photography?
Yeah.
Kind of a mix of both, pretty much. Like, you know, I just kind of taught myself YouTube, you know, check everything out online and everything. I might have assisted maybe 2 photographers for 2 weddings as a second shooter, just to kind of see how they do it and how the flow is and that sort of thing, to see if I really wanted to still do it.
Yeah.
And I'm still here, so I obviously loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the first time we met was it wouldn't have been 10 years ago. It might have been like 2012. So you I don't even know if you would remember this.
I'm trying to remember.
But the time that I remember meeting you would have been when I was working with Cloud9 Creative, and you were shooting the cover for Wedlocks.
Yes.
And we were on the rooftop of the Fairmont.
The
Fairmont.
Royal York, yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
With the bees?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah.
I totally remember. That was crazy. And it was super windy, and I think it was raining or something.
It was crazy.
It was
and there was
insane.
bees flying everywhere
Yeah, it was
because
an
they
insane
had
shoot.
their hive up there at the time. I don't think they do now, but
yeah.
So that was the
Oh
first
my
time I
gosh.
remember meeting you, which I think might have been 2011, 2012
Probably-ish. But it was fun, you know? Like,
yeah.
You just have to make the best of every situation as a photographer or videographer or whatever. It's like,
True.
It is what it is. It's raining, it's snowing, there's bees, whatever. You just have to do what you have to do to get the shot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you've been published Wedlocks, Martha Stewart Weddings. Is that right?
Yes, Martha Stewart Weddings.
Martha Stewart and Style Me Pretty. So what was kind of like a moment where you may have been published in one of those publications or something different and you were like, oh shit, this is getting real, like an exciting time?
Probably the first time I was ever published in Wedlocks, you know, just to see your work in print as a photographer, that's kind of your dream, right? So just to see a styled shoot in there, it was so exciting, you know, and I got 1 million copies and framed them and, you know, did all these things, wallpapered my bathroom with them, whatever, right?
Did you?
No.
Oh.
That would be a little bit too much.
That would be so fun.
But yeah, that was just kind of like, okay, now it's in print. I felt like I made it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, even if you're published in all the different magazines, that's one issue, right? So I'm never satisfied with just that. I don't think anyone really is. And you keep striving for, what else can I send it off to? Or what else can I do? Or who else would be interested in showing my work?
Yeah. But so you took psychology, you said?
Yes.
At
because
Queen's?
my parents didn't want a starving artist, so.
But do you think that psychology translates to what you do?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like when I look back at my life, and I'm sure most people do, they see it's a progression, and I was supposed to go through all those different things to be where I am today, and it helps me today, right? So the psychology I use every single day. Definitely on the wedding day, I'm there for the bride, and if she's kind of panicking and freaking out before the ceremony or something like that, just be like, okay, look at me, breathe. Say, go with the flow. I'm going to go with the flow, and I always say that. And it really resonates with them after. Like, I'll have brides after their wedding come to me and just say those words and that moment that you just kind of took me aside and just got me to like be centered again and just breathe and just focus on what I'm doing, why I'm doing this, and just focus on the party. I'll just say, just go do your thing, and then you're going to have the best time of your life.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
It's important to have somebody who grounds them a little bit. Just
Absolutely.
To be like, just chill out. Especially because, so a lot of times like the planner does set the timeline and then the photographer really maintains the timeline.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they have to go with what is set for photos, family photos.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, sometimes you guys just need to ground them.
Yeah.
And say,
totally. And and also like everyone has different personalities. Some are introverted, some are extroverted, type A, type B people, right?
Yeah.
I get a lot of grooms who are camera shy, and the second I bring the big black scary box between us, they freak out, right? So I just have to kind of say, just pretend I'm your friend and I'm studying art, and I just said, hey, I called you up and I said, I'm doing this photography project. I just need you to just be my model, just hang out here for a bit and whatever. And then it takes the pressure away from them, and it's all on me.
Okay, so on the day of the wedding, something that I loved watching, which I kept telling you, was in the morning when we were in prep, and Danielle was doing up her dress. Her mother was helping her, but these dresses are sometimes very complicated.
Sure.
Of course, we're crunched for time, as always on a wedding day.
Always.
And so you had like popped in, and I was watching, and you didn't know, and I was watching the clock, and it was literally, you had it done in 3 minutes.
It's just something in my nature, we're all team players. I'm there, and, I've got 2 girls. I'm constantly dressing them up in dresses and fixing their hair and whatever. So it just comes naturally to me. So I just jump right in there, and whatever is needed, I will do. So if it's doing up the dresses, the corset, I did this one where it was all tiny buttons, and it was like a million of them down her back and down her sleeves and everything. The dress was stunning. Yeah. But to get her in there was brutal.
Right. Did they have the little pick that helped with the buttons, or you really had to?
That didn't really work.
It didn't do much. Or it took longer.
Yeah, exactly.
It's supposed to be the tool to help you go faster, but it's actually slows you down. So you're kind of all hands on deck, which is good.
You have to be. You have to be. If you want longevity in this business, no ego, set that aside. You're a team player. You're there to help whatever you need to do. Carry bags, carry the bouquet. I put on the boutonnieres on the guys, and whatever you need to do to step in to make that timeline work, to make them calm. And calm people make beautiful, natural, calm photos. Very true. That's also important to me. So I also have a little ulterior motive there to make sure everyone's all easy breezy, and then we get those beautiful photos.
Yeah. Is there another trick that you have to kind of, not trick, but like something that you offer that people just kind of relax? Like, is there anything specific, or is it more just about your presence of being calm and collected that they just kind of vibe off that?
I think it's like, a combination of things. So usually I'll recommend an engagement shoot. So I say that's a great way to test drive your hair and your makeup, right? Get them all professionally done. We'll see how it looks on camera. Then they get to know me, they get more comfortable. It's kind of like posing 101, right? It's like hold hands, walk toward me, walk away. Let's go for a little kiss. Let's go for a super slow kiss. So then on the wedding day, they're more comfortable. They see me, they show up, and they're like, oh, Corina's here, we can relax. We're in good hands. We're gonna get great photos.
Right. And they already know kind of what's set for the photo shoot portion, where it's just kind of the relaxed, like, let's go for a walk, let's do this. Yeah,
totally. And now if they don't do the engagement shoot, then definitely, it's on me to kind of, say some nice words, show them some beautiful photos on the back of the camera to calm them down. And then in the end, it's just also my personality too. Like, I've just got to approach everything with an open heart, be an open person, and, hope that resonates with them to kind of calm them down. And then worst case, I'll just do my Joey Tribbiani from Friends and go, how you doing? And then always, I do this for the grooms. They always laugh. So, yeah.
And then you're snapping immediately.
Yeah. So that's my little hot tip, everybody.
Joey Tribbiani.
Exactly.
That line is like, how long that line was?
Classic.
15 years ago?
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's still,
maybe even 20.
Yeah. And it's still like the epic line.
Yes.
So talk to me about the props that you bring.
Yeah. So part of being, a fine art wedding photographer or a luxury wedding photographer, I think you have to go above and beyond and over deliver. So I show up with my little toolbox, and it's got at least 6 or 7 different shades of velvet ring boxes and ribbons, and I've got styling boards, and I like to kind of add a little bit more styling to just what we've got.
Yep.
Because a lot of my brides want to submit this. They want it to be shot more editorial and submit it to a blog or something like that. And blogs like details. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we don't always have details, so I have to bring my own.
It helps tie everything in together a little bit, right?
Yes.
So was pre-toolbox, did you run into a situation where you showed up and then there was just nothing creative that you could shoot on? Like, what kind of gave you the idea to do the toolbox?
Just, is my own collection of items for styled shoots. I was kind of amassing a great collection of ring boxes and ribbons and everything. And I just thought, why don't I just bring this to the weddings?
Yeah.
No one said, no, thanks, I'm good. I don't need those things. So
True.
It adds to it. And for the wedding dress, I've got a beautiful vintage brass from Paris. I got it at a flea market to hang the dress, a hanger.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's so important.
Yeah.
Because the dress can just be so stunning.
The dress is also the star.
It is. And sometimes you'll get the plastic hanger.
Yes.
And it makes sense because that's the hanger it comes on.
That's what it comes on.
But that's why I guess it's important to travel with your own hanger sometimes.
It just adds to it, right? Just all the details. It all makes the difference.
So you talk a lot about Paris.
Yes, my Paris.
Why
my
Paris?
Spirit city. I love it.
When was the first time you went there?
Maybe 5 years ago now.
Okay.
Yeah. So just the first time that I ever went, I actually went with 2 photographer friends, Krista Fox and Melanie Rebane. Mm-hmm. And we went, and it was just a beautiful girls' weekend, so much fun, whirlwind, and just going there for the first time, it was like, I can't believe this is reality. It seemed like Disney or something, like the French guys with the striped shirts and the baguettes under their arm and
like
everything.
On the street or in a theme park?
No, it seems like, I know, I thought I was on a Disney movie set or something, but legit, that's how they are, right? Okay. And it was just like, oh my gosh, it's just, everything is so dreamy, romantic. The light is stunning.
Wow.
I think it has to do with the Haussmann designed architecture. It's all like the limestone and everything. So it's all white, all the buildings. Mm-hmm. So if you're walking down the street, it's just like the light just hits every building and just kind of, bounces off the walls and just hits their face in a beautiful way. And everyone just looks amazing for photos. The atmosphere and everything is just so beautiful.
So back to the men with the baguettes. Do they sell them?
Where, at the bakeries?
Or what do they do?
No, they just go shopping. Like, they go and they buy like 3 baguettes for the weekend.
These are people who live in Paris who go and get...
Parisians. True Parisians.
I thought you meant there was men just on the corner with like an armful of baguettes.
No. Yeah.
Just so twiddling their mustache at you.
No, that's a thing. That's a thing that true Parisians, they walk around with their baguettes. It's so important to them, that they can eat carbs and they can look that good.
Well, this is what I was just going to say.
Yes.
It's like everybody, because I lived in Europe for a small period of time, but like everybody's so fit over there, but yet they're just packing on like carbs like you wouldn't believe.
Well, you know what? They walk everywhere.
That's true.
Right?
Yes.
Maybe half of them smoke. They walk everywhere and they just look amazing. So.
And they smoke.
Yeah. Not everyone, but, more so than here for sure.
Have you shot weddings there?
Yes, I did do a couple of weddings. I did an anniversary shoot. I've done a honeymoon shoot. I'm doing another anniversary shoot in September.
Wow.
I just love it. It's just creatively, I'm refreshed when I come back and I'm inspired. Just something about that city.
So the honeymoon shoot, was it a couple that you had in Toronto and they're like, let's go to Paris?
No, actually they were, where were they? I think they're from Hamilton originally. And I think they just found me on Instagram because I just said my travel dates and they said, oh, hey, we're going to be there, coming back from Italy because we're getting married in Italy and we're going to honeymoon in Paris. So let's do a shoot.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So you had put your travel dates in your Instagram and then when people were looking?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. So you never know who you can find on Instagram and who can find you.
Yeah, because you've reached out a couple times for shoots that you do that are some of the publications in the States, I think.
Yeah.
Or like you're just kind of looking always at different platforms.
Yeah.
To kind of
So my advice to like new photographers is if one, first of all, submit only to one publication at a time. Because it's not fair in case 2 different publications want it and they're like, oh, we wanted it or whatever. So you just have to kind of do one at a time. be open to rejection, have thick skin, you know, it's going to happen. There's top international wedding photographers out there who get rejected all the time, and their work is stunning. So it's not, you know, it's not a knock against you that your work isn't good. It's just maybe they have 3 weddings that were in the Maldives right now or something like that, or with that theme, and they have, you know, they can't accept that one right now. So it's nothing personal, and just move down the list and send it off to the next one.
It might also depend on who their art director is too, and which part, like who your work speaks to. So maybe one art director is going to feel a different way about your wedding as opposed to another one.
Yeah, it's very subjective,
so,
right?
So just keep submitting, basically, because you just never know.
Totally.
Yeah.
And just stay positive. That's another thing. You know, as an entrepreneur, you just have to have your blinders on and just be optimistic and positive, and just think that universe has your back and it's going to happen for you.
True. It's all about that.
Totally about that. That's life. That's life in general, right?
I feel like that's why we've always gotten along. Just when we see each other, even
because our names are similar.
Our names are. First of all, our names are very similar.
Yes.
I get Corina all the time. Yeah. And it's a lot of people who associate with you all the time.
And I get Corina all the time too.
No way. Yeah. It's funny. We just have a crazy name it's a name you'll never find. Like, you'll never find a necklace. You'll never find. No. Right?
I know.
We're very often like
very
left
unique.
Field.
I know.
Anytime I get anything with my name, I get so excited.
Yeah.
But anyways, what do you think differentiates you from like some of the other photographers that are in Toronto?
Oh, that's a good question.
I know.
That's a good one.
Coming at you here.
Well, you know, I have to just kind of look at what my couples say about me, you know, in the reviews and everything, that they feel comfortable with me. I make them feel comfortable. They love their photos. I capture emotion, all that kind of stuff. To me, I only accept 15 weddings per year.
Okay.
Because I want to build that connection with my couples, and I want to give them the best experience that I can give them. So it's all about the client experience for me. So from the beginning, you know, we'll have a consultation, and then once they book me, I'll send them a welcome package with kind of Corina's favorite things, like Oprah's favorite things, you know,
cool.
with like little candle, little book of poetry, and all these little things. So I want to make the experience very positive, and that they have a great time with me, and that they just kind of say, you know, I love working with Corina V. I like being a Corina V couple. On the wedding day, I'll give them a little surprise, a little present, and
do we get to find out what that is, or do we need to book you?
You have to be a Corina V bride or couple to find out.
Okay, I'm signing up.
Yeah. And just, you know, it's all about being there for them, right? Like, you know, we'll have chats here and there leading up to the wedding. I'm giving them advice, you know, make sure you get your sleep. On the morning, it's like, did you have protein? Did you have, you know, are you hydrated? All that kind of stuff. So it's just kind of like I'm their honorary bridesmaid or something there, right? Like, when you book a photographer, that photographer is with you more than your mom, more than your fiance. So, you know, I want to be able to support my couple on their day.
So you give them health tips as well?
Oh, sure.
Oh, my goodness, girlfriend.
Yeah, totally. Everything. It's like whatever knowledge I can impose on them, you know, I'm there for them. I've got their back. Yeah.
It's true, because nobody goes through, everybody typically goes through this once. And so nobody knows what to expect when, you know, someone like you who's been through this for 10 years.
Oh, yeah. So, any, you know, I'll say, you know, do you need vendor referrals? What do you need? I'm here for you.
Right.
And they become my friends. And I love it. You know, if they live in, say, Vancouver, and when they're in town, they'll be like, oh, do you want to grab lunch? I'm in Toronto for the weekend or something. And it's like, it's an honor to be able to still be friends with my couples, and then, you know, shoot their baby portraits and family portraits and everything. And, you know,
it kind of evolves. Like it continues if you make such a good connection with them, right?
Yeah. And I'm forever grateful for that. I love that. That's what kind of motivates me every day.
Yeah. 15 weddings. That's nice.
Yeah.
So you consider it boutique? Do you say like your boutique?
Boutique style. Yeah. And it's just me doing the photography. I have a second shooter with me, but it's just me from the start to, you know, from the start to the finish.
Right.
I do all the editing myself, all the album design myself.
Right.
I'm a bit of a perfectionist, control freak, and, you know, I've tried outsourcing and I just can't. It's like, you know, they're hiring me and commissioning me to be an artist, to tell their narrative, their visual love story for the day. So,
and that's the thing too, you are an artist, so it's hard to give your art to someone else and say, hey, you do the art, and then it's your name.
It's true.
So that part is super
I know. Well, no one else can see the world that, you know, the way I see it, and I try to see the beauty in everyone and everything. And, you know, when I'm even shooting the bouquet, it's just like, these flowers sacrificed their lives for this bouquet, and I want to do them justice, and I want to shoot them so that every single photo that I take is like frame worthy, right? Even the bouquet or the corsage or the whatever, right?
Yeah.
So
that's the cutest thing I've ever heard.
It's true.
This bouquet is sacrificed.
They're going to be in the garbage tomorrow, right?
Actually,
they died
true.
for this shot, so I better do them justice. I know.
Oh my God, that's the best thing I've ever heard.
Yeah,
they died for this shot.
They did.
It's true. Yeah, it's very true. What kind of business advice? So let's go a little bit entrepreneurial.
Okay.
What kind of business advice do you give to somebody who's considering getting into the industry? What do you think is important to know from a business standpoint?
Business. So like photographer or just anyone in weddings?
Let's say photographer, because that's kind of your realm.
Okay. So, first of all, see yourself as an entrepreneur, an artist, and an athlete. This is huge. And I didn't get this until like 5 years ago or something, when my elbow's starting to hurt and, whatever, because you're carrying around like 5, 10, 15 pounds of gear all day for, say, 12 to 15 hours or something.
Yep.
So, see yourself as an athlete, eat right, get your sleep, stay hydrated, and then do some kind of physical activity. Like I go to Orange Theory.
Yep.
Shout out to North Oakville, Orange Theory Fitness. And do like some kind of high intensity interval training, boot camp, whatever you need to do to kind of build your stamina, endurance, strength. Like it's like you're running a marathon, right?
100% true.
Yeah.
And getting the proper shoes that are going to, because your back is going to start to suffer.
Yes. All that stuff.
One thing we have different is that I use like a monopod. So therefore my camera's resting on a monopod all day, where you're using your actual elbow is bent for hours. So have you had elbow issues?
Oh yeah. So, I go for massage, osteopath, all that stuff. I've kind of switched now to during the speeches, I'll use a monopod as well now.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So I'm kind of like, okay, but I just kind of like to be, on the fly, being able to kind of move around and everything. So I kind of have to give that up
right
at a certain point, because I do get kind of tired and muscle strain and everything. So,
because I've taken maybe like 20 photos once in one period, and I was like, oh my, I was like crying about it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I can imagine that would be.
Yeah. Monopods are great.
Yeah.
So what other advice? So you're like an athlete, you got to train, strengthen your muscles, all that kind of stuff. Also, like, when you're shooting a wedding, you're there to serve, right? You're hired there to capture this special event and everything. So kind of got to check your ego at the door. Don't be afraid of, doing up her shoes or doing whatever, jumping in there, getting your hands dirty. You have to do that. Also,
team player.
Yes, team player is huge. Communication is very important. I like to have a little chat with my bride, a couple days before. We go through the itinerary. What if it rains? I've got all these umbrellas in the back of my car, like all these things, right? So
True.
Be prepared, communicate, set the expectations. What else? And just in terms of photography, just shoot every day.
Yeah.
In cold winter light, in rain, in sun, hot, humid weather, whatever. Take pictures of your cat, of your nieces and nephews or something, right? It teaches you how to shoot fast.
Yep.
That's how I started. I started taking pictures of my daughters.
Yep.
So that's why I shoot fast.
Yeah. How old are your daughters?
What are they now? 10 and 12.
So she really was born right when you started the business.
Yeah.
Or when you started shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were there. They're my muses.
Wow.
Yeah.
I bet you have so many nice photos of them too.
Yeah. Well, they, sometimes they get annoyed, right? They're like, okay, I have to take more pictures. But yeah. It's kind of cool. Every year I try to do a family portrait and, make sure that we're in them too. So I want to practice what I preach, so I'll get a photographer friend to take a family portrait of us too, right? So
it's true, because I don't exist in a lot of my family.
You have to.
I don't exist.
You have to, because those years, you're going to forget and everything, right? And when you're 80, you want to look back and look how hot I was, right? So do it. That's your resolution for this year.
I'll still have long ginger hair when I'm 80.
Yes, I know you will.
Because we actually don't go gray. Side note.
Oh, really?
Redheads don't go. Well, I mean, lucky. They start to lose the pigment, but like it just goes to like a strawberry blonde.
Bonus.
Big bonus.
That's amazing.
So that's always very exciting. So you took advertising. I took advertising. From a business advice of like, how would you suggest somebody market themselves?
Marketing. Okay. So here's a hot tip.
Okay.
So think of your brand. Come up with 3 keywords to describe that brand. Like for me, I'm elegant, timeless, romantic, classic, something like that, right? If you're having trouble kind of coming up with your names, this is huge. Think of your brand as a character, as a celebrity, as, whatever, some well-known person. So for me, I like to think of Audrey Hepburn, Grace Kelly, with a little Charlize Theron thrown in there.
Okay.
Yeah. So then I always kind of think, when I'm taking on a project or if I'm changing my website or something, it's like, well, does that kind of jive with, the character or the brand image that I'm trying to put out there? And if it doesn't, then don't use it.
I see. So you have an identity for your brand, and you want to make sure everything you're putting out
absolutely
matches
consistency is huge.
Consistency.
Yeah. So don't be changing your logo every year. Don't change your business name every year. Some people do that. You have to, it has to be out there for people to realize it. And, couples, they only get married once, hopefully.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of like you're teaching a whole nother, group of people every year who you are, right? So if you're changing your name all the time, or your logo, or your colors or something, kind of stick with what you've got.
If you were meeting with a bride and a bride said, if you're meeting with a bride and they were like, what should I look for when I'm looking for a photo? What's some of the questions they should be asking?
Looking for a photographer? Yeah. Well, first off, meet them. You've got to meet them. It's such a, personal thing. You have to connect because, like I said, they're with you all day, longer than everybody else. So you have to vibe with the person. After that, you also have to vibe with their art. Do their photos speak to you? Because that's what you're going to get, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Do you like dark and moody? Do you like light and airy? Are you more black and white? So that's important as well. Also, read reviews.
Yeah.
A lot of people have their Google reviews happening now, so read those as well. And do your research. Yeah. There's so many out there.
Do you ask clients for reviews?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So once you've worked with them, you're like...
Yeah, that's super important too. That's also a tip for up and coming photographers. Get reviews from your clients.
Yeah.
I always say reviews and referrals are like the nicest compliment that you can give an artist, or a vendor or whatever, right? So if they send you people or if they do a nice review for you, you should definitely ask them.
If you haven't been to a property before, will you go and scout beforehand?
If I've never been there or whatever, or if they ask me to, absolutely. I'd like to check it out.
Check out lighting, check out time of day.
Yeah. Go at the same time of day if it's a ceremony or something. It's high noon. It's like, well, what's that going to be like? Maybe you want to go check it out. Yeah.
Smart.
Yes.
And almost a necessity in a way.
Yeah, you have to, right?
Yeah.
Like if you never shot there and you don't want to ruin it, and you might say, you know what, actually it's high noon. Maybe you want to do it under the tree by the shade at that time. That's probably better. Yeah.
Fact.
Yeah.
How do you feel about first looks?
Love them. Do them, please. Here's why. You're going to be nervous before the ceremony. That's probably the most nerve-wracking part for the bride and groom. If you do a first look and it's intimate and it's romantic and it's emotional, right? So if they can kind of meet somewhere, you have no one else there. You don't have family and friends and everything, right? And you meet somewhere like in the backyard or in a park or just whatever. That's the best time. And honestly, couples will come to me after and just say that was like the best time of the whole day because you get those raw, authentic, emotional photos and video. And then after, it's just kind of like, you embrace and everything and you see each other and the nerves are gone. It's kind of like us against the world. Let's do this thing.
Yep.
And you just see their whole behavior change and their whole attitude change. And it's amazing.
Yep.
You also save on time. So if you do the first look, then you could do some family portraits, you could do the bridal party, and then you could do some couple photos. So that's out of the way. So you have more time later on in the schedule there for whatever, sunset photos or cocktails. Maybe you can enjoy your cocktail hour then instead of going off and doing photos. So
it's very true.
I'm a huge fan.
Yeah. Because sometimes if the first look happens later, if there is no first look, then they're just headed straight to the church. And then after that, it's crunch time between receptions.
But you know what I do with all my couples? I say, are you open to a 1-minute married moment? And they're like, what is that? It's my own little invention. So what I do is, so you know how when they're pronounced husband and wife, they come down the aisle and then everyone just kind of swarms around them. And then they're in business mode, shaking hands and being congratulated and everything. But it's like, you just got married, right? Like this is huge. And I want that to sink in. So what I do is I just kind of say, okay, what we're going to do is, when you come down the aisle, we're just going to steal you away, around the corner or like at a tree or something like that. And for 1 minute, it's just you guys. I'm not going to direct you or anything. It's just me and my second shooter. We're going to stand back a little bit and we're going to just photograph what's happening. And it's like the best time. They love it. So usually they're looking into each other's eyes. Just let that moment sink in. Like it's profound, right? You're someone's husband or someone's wife now, right? And they love that. and it's huge for them. And so just let that sink in before you're whisked away and being congratulated.
Bombarded.
Yeah.
Because that's the moment as soon as you come down the aisle that you want to be with each other.
Yeah.
And essentially it is like, because the bridal party's coming out and everyone wants to see you and you're swarmed. Yeah. So are you doing that for most of your clients?
Yeah. I've been doing that for years.
Oh, really? Yeah. And it's just candid.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It's part of the experience, right? I think of all these different things. Being married for 16 years, I know what's important. And one of the things that I like to say about my photos is I want these photos to be the touchstone of their relationship. On their walls, beautiful, captured emotion. So when you have that little tiff about who put the dishes in the dishwasher wrong or something like that.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, and you're just like, what? And then you look at the photo and then it's like, oh, okay, so this is why we're together. Everything's cool. Okay, this is what we're all based on.
Revert back to that moment.
Yes.
Think about it.
Frozen in time.
Yeah.
It's all good.
And then you skip the dishes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Plug. So you've been married 16 years. Do you have any advice for people?
You know, it's funny. It's like 16 years ago, that was just the beginning of digital, the end of film, beginning of digital. And I just went with a photographer who was recommended by friends of mine. You know, I didn't want to go search around. I'm just like, oh, just give me whoever, someone in Woodbridge, whatever. That was like the wedding capital, right?
Yep.
So I got that guy, and he didn't really have my back. I only got 1 hour of sleep because, I was tossing and turning, packing for the honeymoon and all this stuff. I was worried. Got 1 hour of sleep, and it showed, even if they put the makeup on and everything. So half my photos, I'm kind of slouching like this. I'm tired. Like, you're just kind of standing there. And he didn't have my back. So that's one thing that I do for my brides. Like, okay, and I always do this, shoulders back, chest out. And I'm looking at them, and I'm making sure that they look, energetic and beautiful and everything. So that's one thing that I would do different, is maybe do a little more research in your photographer. Get someone who, makes sure that you're looking your best and gives you the best experience and takes beautiful photos.
Great advice.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to wrap up.
Aw.
I loved having you, and you could stay all day.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Prosecco all day.
Done.
Okay, last and final question. So I like to end off with you addressing the audience with a question.
So which camera do I look into? Okay, question for you would be, what inspires you and revitalizes you creatively? Where do you get re-inspired? How do you get that?
Yep.
For me, if I can't go to Paris, then I will also take a forest bath and go for a walk in the woods.
Yeah.
It's huge. It's very grounding and, fresh air and everything. And I always feel revitalized after that. Yeah. So that's my question.
Cool. I love it. Well, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for Prosecco.
Yay.
Delicious and lovely.
Yes.
And you can come back at any time.
Oh, I will be here. I might sleep on your couch tonight.
Right?
We'll see.
Why not? We'll do a winter wrap up.
Love it.
Okay.
Okay, deal.
Cheers to you.
Cheers. Cheers to you.
All right, guys, and that is it for episode number 14 on the VIP Collective. I really hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, please feel free to hit the like button. You can also subscribe so you don't miss next Wednesday's episode. Until then, take care, brush that hair. We'll see you soon.